All right. All right, so we want to sketch out a perspective of this. Maybe we could do 2-point right here. Sure. So let's just start with horizon line corner. So if I'm looking this way across it, my corner is going to be off to the left. So let's say I'm like, here's me, and you put yourself back here in the corner looking this way. So looking right across the space. Corner is going to be to the left, like what's right in front of the viewer is directly above the station point, which is that position that is assumed to be the viewer, perpendicular to what we would call a fixture plane that runs through that back corner. So the corner here is to the left of the middle. So I might put it there. Now I know we talked about this in class. I want to make this a little small. Like I don't want to make it too big, because if I make it too big, then I won't have enough floor. I want to make sure you can see my. So I've got a vanishing point. The one on the right is farther away from the corner. There. So this just as a this is like an initial idea. Now I know with my plan, there's an L here. So there's a corner. So it might even you might start sketching out just on the floor in perspective where stuff is going. I think, yeah, that's too, I angled that down too much. I kind of got an idea that it was this angle needed to be relaxed a little bit, because this seemed like it was getting too steep too quick. Um, 5.5, 3 feet would be about there, so I can draw the back of the cabinet. And then approximate like the depth of the top. Yeah, I think this is still maybe a little too tall right here, because if my vanishing points are here, I think the height should be a little smaller so that it doesn't seem so close. It's like I'm going to get like the base of the island would be like down here. About top of the island might be like there. Something like that. Yeah, the bottom, the base of it's going to get really sharp downward. Same here. Watch that. Just not really paying attention to my vanishing points. This drawing could be cropped down here so you can like lose the awkwardness of the really sharp angles at the bottom. Oh, okay. All right. Well, just I think I'll just continue with this for the moment. If I've got like a little bit of an angle here, and then my refrigerator is going to start somewhere there, actually. And then I have this, the way I have this now, the refrigerator is like right next to the opening that goes to the dining area. Okay, it's good, then that will have to get good. I guess I can decide what I want for, I guess like the front, like how, like what the way the doors are, is it going to be like freezer on the bottom and then like so like evenly split doors, or I guess I'm going to do that. Um, good. There's going to be like cabinet, cabinet. Windows going to be like there. So I'm kind of like, I'm looking at the floor plan. I'm also kind of like going down the elevation to get like the number of cabinets. You see the side of the cabinet here, so it's going to angle toward the vanishing point at the top and the bottom. The window is there. You know, yeah. This, I think I'm going to just approximate my upper cabinet. Just like send some of that over the, I don't know if I really need it over the refrigerator, but it's kind of like, doesn't hurt to have a little extra and to wrap this around the refrigerator, just so that it's not just like empty above the refrigerator. But this could go there. And then here, there, it should stick and project in front of the window a little bit, and then the width of the doors just gets a little bit bigger, and that's probably where I'm going to crop my drawing, like somewhere here. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just like, top is going to be, there's my sink. So it helps me to draw the perspective of once I've done, like, sketch out the plan and the elevation. Don't forget drawers. Put this to the countertop. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. So this is, yeah, I think the, like sketching this out here, I think my island is a little too close. I think it should probably be more like there. So I decided that by looking at the space down here on the floor that I had left between them. If I've got bar seating here, then I need to make a notch at, like, just have this, like, the actual, like, volume of the island is a little smaller, and then there's a notch of space underneath it, so you have some place for your bar stools. That will go there. Okay. That's not too bad. So now some of this, if some of this didn't quite make sense, then I think what I'd like is to work with you in it on, work on it with you in class. Because some of this, I was working pretty quickly, just like starting with just like the walls, and then working like kind of like starting like at the edge, like, you know, doing a little bit of like the shape of the lower cabinet on the floor, and then approximating like what might be the depth of the lower cab or like the countertop, but then slowly kind of like trying to like work away from the wall, like sort of like add things toward that get closer to the viewer. So here. But did any of what I did make sense to you?
Yes, it makes sense.
Well, good. I mean, I know like when I'm doing this, I'm figuring stuff out as I'm drawing. And that's a pretty normal, I guess that's like a normal part of the process, is you begin not knowing exactly, you don't have to know how you're going to do it. You just have to have you have to have a process that allows you to figure it out. Yeah, and then here, so here we're going to get like everything from the elevation in terms of color, but we also have the floor. So if the floor is, oh, here comes Elliot. Come on. Here he is. What? It's my good old E55, my hardwood champion. That could be like in perspective if I have the flooring coming this way. Uh-oh. So here's where your marker running out might work to your advantage, because You can make it look in just, you know, just making marker strokes, you can make it look like it's like a medium to light, like a medium hardwood. The stainless. There you are. Someplace else. That's if you look at stainless, you'll see that it's like a dull reflection in stainless, and usually you see like streaks, and it's like a blurry reflection of what is like across from it, like whatever is facing it this way. So usually you can just like make these kind of like gray stripes, and it will start to look like the stainless surface. I'll take a some of those are really just back with another. But sometimes I'll build it up and then brush it down. So if I'm imagining that like the island, like the height of the island is like reflected horizontally there. Okay, my cabinets. Again, I'm doing this. I want you to see this, so I'm not taking as much time to erase it as I should if I want to make sure that that pencil doesn't interact so much with this light marker. That's going to be the in there. But that, yeah, this is starting to even do it, even like as like, you know, kind of a little dirtyish as it is. It's starting to show me what I have and what I, you know, what I've designed. And here I'd have to show more of like the thickness of the window opening and the framing and all that. depending on the style of window, it might have a lot of different edges of like wood. Yeah, so this is giving me an idea of like bringing a drawing up in perspective gives you an idea of what your plan actually looks like in real life, because this still gets kind of abstract. The elevation is helpful, but it's still very flat, and so this just gives me a better idea of what it actually is like to be in it. It's going to be like that. And this is maybe even like this may not be your first choice, but even like a more orangey wood, if we're going to go with this kind of like warm, like really a little bit more saturated wood colors. Right. And so Danica, you mentioned surfaces, like a reflective surface. Like if this is a reflective top on the island, and I've got in here I'll just say there's a cooktop, like here, and we can imagine that there are cooktops that have like a suction exhaust that draws it down. Like you'd have to have like exhaust that can go down into the floor and then outside. But they do exist, so you could have like a cooktop here with no need for an overhead range hood. So maybe we'll just imagine that that's what we got here. I guess it would have to be, well, I guess it would have to have something like around the side. No. Okay. Well, that's fine. I want to see, like, let's say I have like it's light surface, kind of reflective. So you might just do like a little bit more in the corner. And show, so like here I'm going to try to show like the window is being reflected. By just leaving a light strip directly below what I mean to show reflected. And then, sometimes you can just do these like streaks that don't necessarily line up to anything else, but it makes it look shiny. Does it look shiny? I think it does. For something that it was done in just a few strokes, I think that looks pretty good. I might bring this out a little bit here. Leave a little, like sometimes like leaving the back edge, a little strip of highlight on the back edge can be nice there. I don't have my overhead pendant lighting. If I go like, it's going to be somewhere like up here. The base of the floor, like through the base over to the wall corner is down here. So I go through the base in perspective, going toward the vanishing point, to the wall, up to the ceiling, and then back out. Then from like underneath it, I can just say like my pendant lights are like coming down above, like up here. And then I should have drawn them out first, because now I've got the rendering of the cabinets where I want to draw my pendant lights. So like a nub there for the cord to be attached to the ceiling. Maybe you might have to have it like a track. Up there. Okay. So we can say these are just a little bit above eye level. And because I made that, I want to make it dark so I can make them show up. I'll just draw them as if they're dark. Take that bottom bit off. Okay. So now I'm not looking at a specific design of a pendant light, and I should, but I'm sketching these out as like a approximation. You want to watch out for the opening here, this is actually even a little too big of an ellipse there. The horizon line is right here, and they're just a little bit above the horizon line. And so they should be very flat. You just see like a little sliver of the opening of that pendant light. And really, like, this is the luminaire is like the whole thing that holds the lighting element. And maybe they're going to be like a cool greenish color, maybe like a frosted metallic greenish. Or a little bit of something a little bit more saturated hue, not too much, but a little bit. I'm not sure where. Maybe there's like dials in the front on the front side that I can't see. Yeah. I didn't neglected to draw my stools, but oh well. It's a bit late now with all this rendering in front of there. Here, I think I'll come back with another, just a little more of this to darken it underneath the overhang. I might want to use gray or a darker color, just because sometimes if you keep adding color, you just make it more saturated, which is not the same thing as a shadow. With this, I think I might, maybe like a brown. Black, with the black colored pencil, sometimes it's just too strong for a shadow on a color, especially a light color. So I will sometimes use brown to darken something instead of black. And I want to try to imitate some, let's say there might be some visible grain. If you draw and turn the pencil as you draw, then go back up and turn it the other way. It'll make it impossible to draw straight, but you might end up making it look just the way you want it to look. So it's kind of like it's a technique that is kind of like, it's a bit random, but it often gives you something a lot like what you need. But it's a little hard to predict. Okay. The backsplash tile. Smaller it is, the more approximate you can make it. So really just like making a mark with a darker blue pencil. To make it look like there's like a transition on it. Like dark to light. Yeah. And faucet. I might, if you've got a specific faucet, like faucet design, I mean, you should, look something up so that you know what you're drawing. But a little like, even something that's like just think about the length, like, you think about this like needing to have a little bit of length so that it's like, gets in, actually like gets over the sink where you need it. So don't draw something that looks like a bathroom faucet when the sink here is so much larger. I've seen that before, so that's why I warn you. We'll make this a light countertop. And I'll do the same thing I did here. Maybe just like some yeah, that's kind of nice how that can very quickly look shiny. All right. There. What do you think of that? Not bad? Not.
Looks good. So you wouldn't use ink?
In this case, I think what I would do is clean up my pencil drawing more. I didn't want to take too long, for the session tonight. But I think I would clean up my pencil drawing. I mean, you can see from this, it doesn't necessarily need the ink. And like if you like draw this clearly just like with pencil, then I think I would definitely like lighten some of it or clean up some of the smudginess or the stray lines. But yeah, you don't need the ink. That's something that I think I would leave that up to you if you want to. And if you think I like the way the ink looks, like a clean inked line around things, you go right ahead. Ink line is not bad. Okay. This might get a little, like I think you might be able to do a little blue like reflected in that countertop. But I wouldn't worry too much about it. Yay, there you go.